Hey, good morning, everybody. This is WCLH 90.7 FM. You're about to be hanging out with Nick James for Hollywood Hearsay, the show that's going to give you all the talk of Tinseltown in just 2 hours. Make sure to keep it locked because I got a great show coming up. And that was a little bit of Queen featuring David Bowie for Under Pressure. What's everybody doing this weekend? We going to the movies? Because I think I am. I got Aladdin coming out. One of my favorite cartoon movies from the 90s is now getting the live-action treatment, similar to The Jungle Book and similar to The Lion King, which we'll see later this year. I think it looks pretty good. You know, Robin Williams is my boy, but Will Smith is the perfect choice to take over as the genie. After that, it's a movie called Brightburn coming out. Now, check this out. If you're a fan of Superman, imagine Superman living in Kansas growing up as a little boy, but didn't really want to do all the things, you know, truth, justice, and the American way. It was actually kind of evil. That's what this movie's going to be about. After that, another movie's coming out called Booksmarts. Two girls realize at their high school graduation, maybe life was a little bit more about getting that 4.0, and now they want to live it up a little bit. Interesting side note to this movie, it's directed by Olivia Wilde. That's right, if you're a fan of Tron or the incredible Burt Wonderstone, or you used to watch House back in the day, remember 13? They called her number 13, that's Olivia Wilde, and she'll be making her directorial debut for that. Finally, we have The Poison Rose coming out. It's inspired by film noir. So this guy named Carson Phillips used to play football, and now he's a PI. I'm not really 100% sure where the story's going past that, but it has John Travolta, Morgan Freeman, and Brendan Fraser. So, I mean, how bad can it really be? You can find out right here on 90.7 FM WCLH during Hollywood Hearsay next week if you come back for my review. Until then, how about we kick another song and you guys keep it locked right here on 90.7 FM.
Spent 24 hours, I need more.
Welcome back to Hollywood Hearsay with your host, Nick James. Now, I just played a little bit of Maroon 5, and then I followed that up with Ariana Grande's Thank You Next. Now, if you have not seen the music video for this Thank You Next song, I'm telling you, you got to do it right now. I might be a little bit biased when I say it is the best music video of all time, but I do happen to love 90s movies, which feature prominently in there. We have Legally Blonde, 13 Going on 30, Bring It On, and Mean Girls all making little cameos that weave in and out of this story. Brilliantly executed, absolutely perfectly done. 4 for you, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco, because that music video is a 10 out of 10. Coming up after my next music break, guys, I'm talking about the thing that everybody's thinking about, Game of Thrones. What did you think about the season finale? Be sure to hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you need to get a hold of me to talk about it. But I will have a very special guest in studio with me talking about the throne. So keep it locked.
Baby, lay on back and relax. Kick your pretty feet. If it's meant to be, it'll be. Baby, if it's meant to be.
Alrighty, and welcome back to Hollywood Hearsay with Nick James. Like I said, I have a very special guest right now. The station manager, the person who makes WCLH all run so smoothly,
Well.
is Kristen Rock. Thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Smoothish.
I think
yeah.
we do a pretty darn good job, if I have to say so myself.
Oh, I thank you. Speaking of smooth, though, you think what do you think of the editing? There's lots of we got a lot to talk about when it comes to Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah. A lot happened in 2 episodes, and to be honest, we can't really talk about the season finale without going just a tiny bit into episode number 7. then.
Yes.
So, spoilers, first and foremost, so sorry. Daenerys burned everything down. She did the thing she said she wasn't going to do right away.
She promised to keep King's Landing intact because she was all like, "Oh, these people, they need to be free. They need to not live, with a tyrant and all this other kind of stuff." But then totally did a tyrant move
And burned them.
And burned them.
All of them.
Yeah.
And it was gruesome, too. I mean, we've seen a lot of things go on fire with her and her dragons, but like this time, you don't really understand the destructive force behind a fireball. You know, if it hits a wall, it doesn't just spread out, it just knocks that wall down. So everything was not only crumbling around them, but then on fire as well. And, you know, shout out to the stunt team and all the stunt coordinators, because you could tell there's a lot of practical effects of guys or girls running around in giant flame suits going, ah, yes. So I could tell that was practical. And man, I think that stunt people who light themselves on fire like that for our entertainment, like, thank you, because it made it seem very real and
they
scary.
work hard for their paycheck.
Yes, I definitely could not do that. Imagine just like, what'd you do today? I was on fire. You know, just a little bit, though. They put me right out. Couldn't even imagine, and especially on a show like this where all she does is that, you know, and that's where we really get into the meat and potatoes of the season finale, because if she did it once, everybody's kind of thinking she's going to do it again. So Jon Snow was handed Sophie's choice of am I going to stay loyal to my queen or should I do
Right.
my duty to the realms and take her out? And again, big spoilers, guys. He kills her.
He kills her, yeah. And I have to say, we were talking about this earlier. I wasn't sure if he was going to do it. I didn't know if he had it in him. I mean, I knew that he knew that was the right choice. I could see him just biting it and being like, you know what? I'm going to let her do her thing and then I'll fix it later.
If he wasn't on the battlefield, if he didn't see Grey Worm then, if you guys are unfamiliar by names, he's the Unsullied, the leader of the Unsullied.
Yeah.
When he was just slitting Lannister throats, though, that's when he was like, we really aren't. This isn't even war. This is a massacre. You know, he's been in battles. He's fought many wars. He understands that in war, death happens. This was not that. This was something completely different that I don't think he could get past.
Right. And then in the next scene, when she's given her big monologue, her big speech about, the whole thing after it's all over, I mean, she clearly says, we're not going to end here.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think Jon Snow's like, oh, whoa. I mean, how long could this go on for? How many villages or how many, places is she going to burn down just to prove her point?
Yeah.
That
Because
she's not a
breaking
tyrant?
the wheel, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing she wanted to do the most is break the wheel. And
Right.
no, she was just being the next spoke in that wheel by just putting force over that.
Yeah.
Leading up to that shot, though, or leading up to that where she's giving the speech where she's you're coming up the stairs in the point of view of Jon Snow and the
with
wings come
Wasn't
out.
that so cool?
That cinematographer, A+ to you
A+,
as well, because
agreed.
my goodness, that looked
That-
so amazing.
That cinematographer and the stunt people that get caught on fire should definitely be friends.
You would think that they'd
Yeah.
get paid the most, but no, it's
Yeah.
the people who pretend to do everything else, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
The way that I'm looking at this, and I'm not 100% happy, but I don't think anybody ever could. You know, we've written more endings to that show in our heads than we could have ever gotten. But I still am very pleased for one shot alone, and that is the new small council.
Yes.
So we
that
have
was so
Tyrion,
good.
Bronn, Sam, not Jorah Mormont. He passed. Who was the other guy then sitting with them?
I can't think of his name.
I can't. Oh my God, it's the Onion Knight. That's who.
Yes.
So if you're again not too good with the names, it's 4 characters who, even though might not walk the straightest line of good and bad, have the best compass on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And now you know that these people are going to be in charge of King's Landing, and like
It's like the land of misfit toys.
for once, you know that
they're just
they're in
kinda-
good hands.
For sure. Yeah. That last scene, I think, was perfect, right? Like, they're just like, well, I didn't do that. Did you do that? Well, I guess we could do this. What about brothels? What about this? Like, it was just kind
The
of
Master
like,
of Coin can think about giving a few for
yeah. Like, it was just kind of well done and a good way to kind of end it, I think. Yeah.
Agreed. So I'm not.
People
too
are mad
upset.
about it, though. They're so mad. They're
So
so
on
mad.
your scale of 1 to 10,
Mad? Of like a mad scale?
no, of how you thought the episode went.
oh,
1
oh,
being
oh,
a
oh.
stinker, 10 being the best you've ever seen.
I would maybe give it like a 6 or a 7.
That's where I'm landing too,
Yeah.
with almost the entire season. It's not my
Right.
favorite, but
It's
it's
not-
definitely not the worst.
I mean, let's give them some credit. They've been doing this for a very long time. It is such a complicated storyline, right? Like, and then there's these, 500,000 people signing a petition to have them rewrite it and refilm it and do all this stuff. Like, you know how much work goes? I don't think people realize how much work would go into that, filming that or whatever. So, anyway, I would like to see them try and rewrite it better.
Absolutely.
Like, what would you want to hear?
Well, I don't know. It's just got to be
I
better
just
than
know
that.
I don't like it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So hopefully when George
Lame.
R.R. Martin finishes his books, he'll do a different twist and everybody could be happy.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
so far the books haven't lined up with the show's toot sweet. So
Yeah.
there is going to be a different ending to those, and then hopefully everybody can be happy.
I agree.
Coming up next, we have a lot more music. We have a lot more Hollywood news. Thank you so much for coming
Well,
and sitting
thank you
down
for
and
having
talking
me.
about the Thrones
Absolutely.
with me. So if anybody else out there wants to talk a little bit, be sure to hit me up on Facebook, Twitter,
Yeah.
Instagram, or anything else. But of course, be more important and keep it locked right here on 90.7 FM WCLH. Hey, good morning, everybody. This is WCLH 90.7 FM. You're about to be hanging out with Nick James for Hollywood Hearsay, the show that's going to give you all the talk of Tinseltown in just 2 hours. Make sure to keep it locked because I got a great show coming up. And that was a little bit of Queen featuring David Bowie for Under Pressure. What's everybody doing this weekend? We going to the movies? Because I think I am. I got Aladdin coming out. One of my favorite cartoon movies from the 90s is now getting the live action treatment, similar to The Jungle Book and similar to The Lion King, which we'll see later this year. I think it looks pretty good. You know, Robin Williams is my boy, but Will Smith is the perfect choice to take over as the genie. After that, it's a movie called Brightburn coming out.